The FLAMECAST!
Hey, Windy!
Hello, Tobor. How you doing, my friend? Welcome.
Good, man, and welcome to everyone else on our third ever FLAMECAST. We got a trilogy now.
Wow, three. Three numbers.
Three
Big
of them.
Numbers. Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to FLAMECAST.
So, how's it been going?
Not too bad. Same old, really.
Yeah.
Just,
Plugging away on Geo 2?
Oh, yes. Geo 2, yes. Geo 2 coming soon. I've been in this sort of a quagmire of design despair recently. Just wading through the thick bog of my mind.
Somebody find him, help him.
Yeah, exactly. Drag me out. No, it's good. It's one of those situations.
Get this man a journalist.
Because it's quite a complicated game, right? But also
It looks complicated.
simple. Yeah, it's a weird one. So I just want to get
deep.
it right.
I should say it looks deceptively simple, but it has roots.
That's the idea, yeah. So it's the more you want out of it, the more you can get. But it's the whole sequel issue, you know. I've never done a sequel before, so it's how
neither.
Close do you get to the original.
I've never done a first quel.
Well, it's if you think about it though, it's like I think anyone can understand though. It's like if you're making a sequel, you need to how close to the original do you get? You know, that's my biggest thing at the moment. And I started off going well in a different route. A lot of it's the same, but a lot of it was very different, and it didn't really work out in my head playing the game through sort of mentally. And so then I had to start again on certain bits, and then you get in this spiral really where you've got all this work you've done, which you don't want to just bin it, you know. But at the same time, you're sort of having it there is holding you back. So I need to have a little bit of a design shave, if you will. Obviously not using Gillette, but a little design shave.
Something I kind of have to do too.
Oh yeah,
Gillette only.
You're looking grizzled.
Yeah. And yeah, surviving out in the wilderness of my apartment.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been all right. Just sort of trying to figure stuff out, really.
Well, in the sequel thing, like, I guess you want to give people who are fans of the first game the same stuff, but inject some new junk in there. And where do you put the new junk?
Is it. Yeah, and it's kind of it's bad because a lot of people like Geo1, so I don't want to screw it up for them. So, but at the same time, I don't want to just remake the same game, you know. So I have a lot of plans. I have some cool stuff going on that I intend to put in it. I want the actual drilling. So for anyone who doesn't know Geo, you build up a headquarters, you hire crew members and staff, and build up this building that gives you stats for your drill, and then you explore space, find comets or moons or planets or whatever, and then you drill them with the idea of getting to the core where you get your super currency, which you can use to upgrade everything. That's basically the idea. But I want to make the actual drilling a hell of a lot more unusual, shall we say. I have some plans to make it
unusual drilling.
Unusual drilling, yeah. I want to keep people on their toes. So I have some wacky ideas, if you will, that I'm going to be throwing in there.
Whoa!
Yeah, if you was to write it on paper, people would think you're insane. But I think it could be good.
That sounds like our show notes for today.
No,
it's fucking insane. you go down the list and you read it. Now here's just a sampler for you guys. So we got our intro and our what are you up to? Oh well, I'm whatever. And then Barrett is racist. Bethesda roasts a journalist. And what is the mutant?
Mutants make disabled people feel bad.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
what are these notes? They're fun. But anyway, talk about Geo 2 and your development on it. I got a chance to play Sweezy Gunner, so I'm gradually getting used to your catalog, and I gotta say I was legitimately blown away by Sweezy Gunner. I was not expecting what's in that game.
Grazie.
Yeah, but it was so like I didn't. It's Zelda in a tank, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's like a bullet hell mixed with a classic adventure game like Zelda, top down action adventure game, and I don't know, like a Blaster Master because of the tank. But I was like, I was very impressed.
Can I just add?
Yes.
Female protagonist 7 years ago.
Oh my
6
God!
years ago, so
Look at you.
My time there.
Jesus. No. I'm sorry, but listen here, white man. You're wrong because
coming in hot, guys. It's coming in hot.
FLAMECAST. Before Brie Larson, there wasn't. No, you can't. Sorry, you can't claim that.
It wasn't even a thing. I just thought it'd be cool, and I thought it'd be an awesome character.
Isn't that kind of fucked up about sort of the current climate, where it's like you can't really.
The problem is,
like, if I have a character or something that's gay, or a female in a game, like, now it's like I'm thinking, like, did I just put that in there for diversity's sake, or is it like something I actually wanted to do, or is it because I'm trying to appeal to somebody? You know, it's like it's all fucked up in here now.
It's sort of made it all a bit twisty, isn't it? You know,
and you think about the perception of it too. It's like, am I going to come off fucking ham-fisted for this? For just kind of following your, you know, sort of writer instinct and be like, this might be a fun thing to do. I was doing the same thing years ago, like over 10 years ago. I was working on a comic called Warpaint that was about a female, like a young girl it was a science fiction thing. Like her village gets destroyed by alien invaders, and she has to learn how to survive and stuff. And she starts, like, you know, she meets like this person that teaches her how to kill stealthily, and she like finds a robot, and the robot helps her and stuff. But now it's like, if I put this out, like, how's it going to be perceived? You know, it's through what lens is it going to be looked at? And, you know, it's like, there's so many.
What you also need to be concerned with there, Tobor, is how have you represented that robot? Because in 20 years' time, when these robot rights come in, you might be oppressing the robots there. So
I could be doing robot blackface. You know,
you could be. Be careful.
On accident.
Be careful.
It's
a twisted web.
Yeah,
it's a twisted web, but it's actually true though, because I think with all this big movement for inclusion and all that stuff, right? Which I understand. It all comes from a good place. It just goes off the rails all the time, in my opinion.
Yeah. The intentions are good, but then, you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? So which is some of the problem that we have. Yeah,
it's a tricky web, that's for sure. It is.
Yeah. To be like kind of high level and obtuse about it, it's just a mess.
It is. But I'm glad you like Sweezy Gunner.
Back to.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Back to fun and entertainment.
It's only a few bucks. I've got it up on Steam now. You know,
yes,
I put it up for a few bucks when I first put it up. I grossly underpriced it, but you know, I was new and I just, you know, put it out there.
And I'm sure this is
Desura.
Oh my God!
Before I got it on Steam, because when I first made it and released it, there was no Steam Greenlight or Early Access. You know, it was either you was published or your game doesn't appear on Steam.
Yeah, this was 2014, huh?
So it was. I think it predates whatever the release date is on Steam. It predates that by about 6 months or a year as well, I think, because it was one of the first games through Greenlight, Steam Greenlight. So
I was just doing my Savage Kickstarter back then in those days.
Oh wow! Wow. Good times. Good times.
Yeah, Desera.
And that was back when you could actually sell games. But, that's another story for another day. But yeah, I'd love to do. I've got a plan in the old Swede here for a Sweezy 2.
Okay, because I was gonna say this, and it's probably not the thing that you want to hear right now. Is like, can I get a Sweezy Gunner 2? Because I was like, oh man, if this was done now, you know, with your skill set now and your art style now and your, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Because you can really see how early it is.
Yeah, I think you'd have something fucking awesome. I mean, you already do, but something more awesomer too.
I think my whole thing is every time I play out in my head what a Sweezy 2 sequel would be, it turns away from being Sweezy Gunner, like being a sequel. It just turns into another game, like something different, you know? Because I think
well, you could do like a genre bender too, you know, like
I love doing that.
Yeah. One of my favorites is Well, Blaster Master, like I brought up, and it's got like those top-down elements when you go in the dungeons, and then you're side-scrolling or platforming in the tank. And Guardian Legend too is another one that Sweezy Gunner kind of just popped into my head when I was playing Sweezy Gunner. But
yeah, I'm glad you like it. It's a bit clunky. It's got some issues. For the most part, it's all there. You know, in the worlds, I don't know how far you got. But I was,
not too far. Like I played, maybe half. I just kind of roamed around the overworld map, and I didn't find a dungeon yet. I was just kind of taking it in.
Yeah. You need to get in that first cave. You need to get in there. That's when it kicks off.
Yeah. Okay. But it looks great. It reminds me of Toe Jam and Earl a little bit. The way that the world looks.
That's exactly what it was inspired by. The world was Toe Jam and Earl.
Nice.
Love Toe Jam and Earl.
Nice.
I don't like the new one, but I love the original too.
Why don't you like the new one?
Have you played it?
No.
Well, there you go. Well, I think it's a shame, really. I think they got a big ton of Kickstarter funding, didn't they, for the game? And I think it was like $500,000. And from playing the game, I think $495,000 was spent on the IP. You know, that's sort of the vibe I'm getting. It's not very good. Like it's probably worth picking up if you like Toe Jam and Earl, but
it doesn't have the spark. You're saying maybe
it just. Well, in the end, I played it on stream, and I played the whole game with one hand whilst vaping, and I didn't use a single gift, and I completed it in like 40 minutes on the hard difficulty.
I've only played a little bit of the original on. Well, I guess is it Mega Drive?
Yeah.
For you guys.
Yeah. Massive fan of Toe Jam and Earl 1.
And I don't remember how difficult it was or how.
It wasn't so much difficult. It was just everything had value. So every time you picked a gift, it was an important thing. Like it was always going to be worthwhile. Whereas in the remake, that's not the case at all. You don't need them at all. You don't need anything you pick up. You don't need to interact with anything. Just find the piece and get out.
Pointless.
Yeah, it's just a real shame. And like all the UI lags a little bit, and it's just. It looks like it needs another 2 years and another $500K.
Because at first glance, I was just like, oh, it just looks like an updated.
And it's far worse than the Toe Jam and Earl 3 on the Xbox. I don't even know if you knew that existed.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it was Microsoft who made it. I think on the original Xbox, but it might have been the 360. I can't remember. They actually released another Toe Jam and Earl, and it was actually pretty good. It was actually pretty good. It got a roasting, but it's far better than this current one. And I don't like to speak bad because it's an indie team, you know. And if it was just any other game, then fair enough. But it's got the Toe Jam and Earl label on it.
This one looks like an actual like 3D platformer kind of situation.
But it was a bit more Toe Jam and Earl-y in my. But this new one's not very good, personally. I think.
Okay.
But I think a lot of people are enjoying it. But
that seemed to be the vibe that I was getting when I was just. But I wonder how much of that is just kind of nostalgia. It's like, oh, it's like the first one. Look it.
Well, that's what I think. I think if it didn't have a Toe Jam and Earl skin, it wouldn't have done. I can't see it getting much eyeballs. But
yeah.
So enough about Toe Jam and Earl. However, we got there. How's the things in the world of Tobor?
So I'm gearing up for early access. I think. In the next. I'm going to say 4 to 5 weeks or something.
Okay.
I'm going to push the button.
Push the button.
God help me.
Yeah, do it, man. Do it.
Yeah. Based on a lot of just what I've been looking at and who I've been talking to and stuff, it seems like anymore you're missing out on kind of a valuable layer without doing early access. I mean, you could fuck yourself for sure in early access, probably, depending on how you handle it, and obviously depending on what state your game is in when you put it in early access.
Yes,
but I do think that it doesn't quite have the perception isn't the same as it was even 2-3 years ago. Yeah, that it is now. It's not like you're fucking. You're putting your video game on a store shelf with all these other finished games, and you're asking me for $100. Yeah, I don't think that it has quite that same. I mean, I wonder how much of that too is where the early access games are placed now on Steam, where I think they used to be sort of all bunched together with 1.0 release, like actual releases and stuff.
Okay,
and I think early access are more relegated to their own
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
They don't come up on the front page anymore, and I think they used to.
I think
that used to upset people.
I think for Savage, I think it's a great thing, because I think early access is good if you've got like because your game is so far along, it's fully playable, you know, and it's great, and it's just getting over the finishing line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a great time to have early access, and it's the best way to do it. You know,
I will say that in the current build, you can't, you know, kill the final boss and finish the story.
But that would be a finished game if you could, wouldn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, more or less.
It's fine. Yeah, I wouldn't worry. There's still tons of content. It's good content. You know, it's not some prototype that's been slapped up on Steam, which is what the problems with early access have been.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be one of those people who's using it for the right reason. You know.
Well, and my so here's the reason. Here's my reasoning behind it. You seem to get the potential to build a larger community around it.
Yes.
Obviously, the more feedback that you can get is always better, especially since I'm rolling into, you know, areas of the game that require balance and tuning. Yep. You know, like Savage Savage is a full-blown RPG at this point. It's I used to not think of it that way, but anymore it's like, yeah, well, it's got all this, you know, it's certainly up to its eyeballs in RPG mechanics, and as we know, that crap needs to be balanced, and it needs I need some input from a lot of people. I need to see how a lot of people are playing it, and what the hell they're doing, and you know, and how they feel about some of the exploits in there too. Like, I want to leave fun exploits in there if they're, you know.
Oh yeah.
Maybe there's a few speed run kind of things in there that I'm like, you know what, that's kind of fun, and it's a little tricky to pull off, and maybe I'll leave it in there, but I want to get a read on what other people think about it, and and all that, and just get a feel for it and see if it's melting anybody's computers before.
Oh yes, I think you'll be all right with that though. I think it'll be. I don't think you need to worry about that.
Yeah, and it's not like I haven't been
potato. Then that's not really your problem, is it?
Yeah. And it's not like I haven't been transparent already. Like I've had a demo out there for years that I keep updated. That, you know, I get, you know, nobody's come to me saying like, this is 100% broken and it, you know, killed my entire family and, you know, whatever.
Well, I think you should do it. I think our best of luck to you, and anyone who's watching, make sure you Savage Shards of Ghosten. Do it now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. So it's a little. Yeah. I mean, and there's the potential to you know, grow the Twitch channel, etc. There's a lot of benefits there, I think, that are there now that weren't there once upon a time, and it's just like, well, it's just an extra. It's an extra. I kind of think of it like you're producing some what is it, shareware? You know, you're mailing out shareware discs or something. People used to sell those things too, which I think people forget. People used to fucking pay for demos, and then they'd have to buy the game if they wanted it.
Crazy. I remember those days where you get a disc with like 8 demos on it, and then they'd have these splash screens come up saying, you know, buy it from here, call this number, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Send away for your copy.
Yeah. Good time. But I think I would consider early access for GO2, to be honest. I might, because it seems like.
I think GO2 would be great for early access with all the. I think
my concern with GO2 for early access is, I think with every single update, it would wipe everyone's save file. That's my biggest concern with a game like that, because everything is like weaved in. So if I add a new room and a new block and a new planet, then it's going to throw off the save file, which means you know, I'm just going to get people upset. Which is, if I can find a way around that, maybe. But,
I think if you
or just limit the amount of updates I do. That's one thing I could do.
But if you front load your information with that stuff, I think you'd probably be fine. You know, like have a disclaimer at the beginning of the game. You know, in development, expect save wipes, and on your early access page too. Like you can put a big, you know, things, you know, important. Like I know I've noticed that Steam anymore lets you put like a big red. You know, important. This, you know, if if you consider playing this, bear it as racist. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. It is interesting. It is interesting, this early access malarkey, right? Because when early access first started, I've always made full games, right? That's what I've always done. I've added content or patched them and stuff like that, mistakes, but I've never done early access. But there is like an underlying expectation now, because so much early access, and almost every single AAA game is early access, whether they call it that or not.
Yeah.
There's like an expectation.
We have a roadmap. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. There's an expectation for unlimited and endless new content to the game. So you find people going, "Oh, great! Can't wait for more." And you're like, "More? Game's finished." You know, so there's this expectation now, so you're almost at a detriment by making a full game and releasing it, because people think that there's more to come. You know, and that's an interesting thing. I'm not saying everyone does, but it's definitely something I've noticed.
Yeah. Well,
definitely.
Again, I think it depends on what kind of content you like to consume, right? This is my issue with the games industry as a, monolith. It's like, no, there's, Bejeweled is not Assassin's Creed, is not Dark Souls, is not Geo.
Yeah.
Is, there are pockets and subcultures within that space, and there's and expectation, I think, plays a lot into it too, and how you market something, and and I do think that there's a thirst out there for fucking finished games. I tell you, I feel it. I'm like, I don't want to spend 10 years on this.
Yeah, well, no, I agree 100%. Like, I don't buy AAA games that often, but when I do, I usually buy them 2 years late. I'd never ever buy, unless it's from Nintendo, because generally they put out a finished game. But for the most part, like I won't jump in and buy a new Assassin's Creed or something like that.
You want to wait for the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah, and it's not even because I want to get it cheap. It's just that I have no interest in jumping into some game that requires another year's development. There's
or might be broken for at least a week.
Yeah, not AAA anyway. You always see, didn't you? Just tanked reviews. The servers are busy.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how much of that too is that this is the way that these games are being made is kind of new.
Yeah, it's all different.
Yeah. I want to say like the breaking point for all of it, or the turning point, the shift, like the paradigm shift for games.
Patching.
Yeah, well, and just the way that production was approached was probably post Halo.
Okay.
I feel like Halo was the big, that was the blockbuster for like what movies went through too, where it was like, they had Star Wars, but they didn't quite figure out the blockbuster formula till like Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And then that was like, okay, we got a template now and we can run with this. Games, I think, it's, mostly like before Halo, it's like, 30 people, 18 people, 5 people.
Yeah.
And generally working on something they wanted to make. And
then it just went bang, 1,000 people. 3 studios working on parts of the game and all this stuff.
Fuck. And now you got a bunch of people in there fucking working on something that they don't give a shit about, like
all around the world.
Yeah.
See, when I was saying patching, the industry changed because, in my opinion, that was a major thing. Because you had, so go back to like the N64, the PS1, maybe even PS2 and stuff like that, is the only aim of the studio was to make the very best game they can. That's the only way they could ensure good sales,
Yeah.
There was other ways, but you had to make sure the game was good. That was like priority one. It didn't matter.
And it was finished and it worked.
And it had to, You think on N64 and you had a cartridge with a game on it, and bang.
Yeah.
That's it. Once that goes out, that's done. But then as soon as you could patch, it's like, oh, we've got a list of 200 things we need to get fixed, but we can put it out anyway and get those done in a week, 2 weeks, see if anyone notices. And whereas before they could not get away with that. There was no getting away with that. And
I think that's that's kind of a scalability issue too, where it's like these fucking projects are massive.
Yeah, they're huge.
And somebody who's not managing the project well, like that's going to have even crazier issues with the rest of it. And that's not to say that games were always, these perfect
no, God no,
gems squeezed out. Like a lot of them were broken and shit, and sometimes you'd have to send away for a disc, if an update was released for like Daggerfall or something, or Ultima Underworld or any of those things, they'd still put out fixes for them. But And if you were lucky enough to have a 28K modem, sometimes you could download the patch in 4 hours as long as somebody didn't call to interrupt the the internet. But
it's interesting. It is interesting. It'll be interesting to see where they go. I think that route of development's only going to increase with streaming. The way it's all going, AAA games will all be streamed. You won't buy a physical copy.
Yeah, it'll be a rental service like Netflix.
Yeah, that's what it will be. And those games will, you could buy it 1 year and then re-download it again the next year, and it'll be like playing something entirely different. Which is really interesting to see how,
if you're even downloading it at that point,
well, any review metric, how these can even be considered as viable anymore. That's what's getting really interesting, because a game that's reviewed 1 week, 6 months later, that review could be so irrelevant to the game. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. I don't know what the hell's going to happen there, because it's like you'll be reading a review of, like, say, a new Halo game, but it first came out as like a chicken adventure, Zelda, and you'd be like, the chicken adventure was pretty good, but I kept getting my beak stuck in the trees, and then the game's like a first-person shooter about zombies by the time it's finished.
And imagine being somebody that plays it at that late date, but they're reading a review.
Like, what is this?
Yeah. I think they did the title wrong. I don't.
Yeah, what's this about? But that's an honest thing that can happen. That's not quite that extreme for anyone who's living too literally. I'm being facetious.
Yeah.
Well,
we never dream of being sarcastic on this.
Oh God, no, definitely. No.
Yeah.
God, no. Yeah. So that's Halo, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's just tons of. We're just flying.
We're just two guys having a chat, Tobor. That's all we are.
Yeah, come along for the ride.
Yeah, join us.
You've got to be this high to. But speaking of like games that changed drastically, I'm attempting a segue here. You can let me know if it worked
Go on.
or not.
Tune in. This is it, guys. Pay attention.
Yeah, get ready. We're gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be smooth. The transition is gonna.
Do it.
Diablo 3 launched as a mess.
Oh yeah, a hot mess.
And that's. We've been trying to kind of like play a little, play a game, metaphorically and literally, I guess. But the one for number 3 is Diablo 3, FLAMECAST 3, Diablo 3. So you went through it and you beat it recently. I played it a little. I will say that I did not play Diablo 3 at launch. I had
avoided
zero interest in playing it at launch.
Yeah, I was long gone. I've only recently picked it up. I picked it up for the Switch. I've not even played the PC one. I nearly bought it a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I nearly bought it a couple of years ago for PC, but didn't, because I was always like, the real money, or it's very Blizzard, so it's all going to be about just casual microtransactions. You know what I mean? So I avoided it, and I saw it on the Switch, and I thought, do you know what? I bought Titan Quest on the Switch. I don't know if you played Titan Quest.
I have. I played it on PC, but
I very much enjoyed it on PC.
That thing got quite a resurrection.
It has recently, isn't it? Yeah.
Two expansion packs, like for a 15-year-old game or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, I know.
Incredible, and on modern, modern tech too. Like,
is it THQ who are doing the new work on it, or is someone scooped up?
Yeah. They bought it. Okay. I think it's THQ. THQ is gone purchase crazy with a lot of these IPs. They're gobbling up everything.
Well, it's a good one to have, if you want my opinion. Titan Quest is a great game, but I bought it for the Switch, and it was hot garbage. And that's to put it nicely.
Titan Quest was hot garbage on the Switch?
On the Switch. It's the exact same game, but the controls are dog shit.
Oh, my.
It's really bad. And I thought, oh, no, because I tried to play it, and I got into it, and I put up with the controls, because it's such a great game. And I sort of half started getting used to it. But it has really weird, like, lock-on mechanisms and stuff like that. And you're not supposed to play those games with a controller anyway. I know that. But
I would love for them to be, like, my thing for that kind of stuff is like I work at a keyboard and mouse all fucking day, so like I like giving my wrists, my delicate wrists, a break.
Yeah, because I agree 100%. Because I spend so much time mouse, keyboard, and on my PC. I don't particularly always want to play a game on my PC. It's nice to turn on my Switch and grab my controller and
me either anymore, at least. Yeah.
But Diablo 3 on the Switch, it's amazing what they've done to convert that into a controller supported game.
Okay.
Everything is different. I didn't even know because I've not played the original. So I was chatting to my brother about it, and he was like, "What are you talking about? That doesn't make sense." And I showed him screenshots, and he was like, "What the hell is that?" They literally reworked the entire UI, the control, everything.
Oh, okay. So it's a different, more or less, like it's a remix.
Yeah. But the game itself is glorious. I'm actually dangerously hooked now. So
wow. Okay.
Be careful there. Yeah.
When Diablo 3 came out, in general, right around then, I was kind of souring on Blizzard a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I've been a bit pissed off of them, for a while.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have. But don't you have phones?
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Oh,
that poor guy. I felt so sorry. You watch his little face up on stage, all little, and he just gets. He's just. He knows what's coming.
All three of them, man. Like it's. And they're trying to save face, with the little joke, and it's all cringy, and oh my god,
that was absolutely brutal.
It's like watching a comedian bomb on stage,
It's one of the best moments in the games industry and the worst all at once.
Yeah, it's like watching a piano recital and the guy just, the 12-year-old can't fucking get through a Ode to Joy or something.
It was so bad. I felt so sorry for him, but it was so self-inflicted. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, just what a tone-deaf maneuver that was.
I called it though. I did call it I was chatting to my brother about it, and I said to him, he's like, "Oh, Diablo 4, it's going to be some mobile garbage. You watch."
Yeah, I didn't prophesy that, but I was not surprised. I was like,
I did see.
Of course,
and I will forever see. Yeah.
The eye.
Yeah, but no, it's a great game, Diablo 3.
I was a huge Blizzard fan.
Yeah.
Let me just say, like they were one of my favorites growing up.
Yeah, I agree. Same.
Warcraft 1 and 2, I loved to bits and pieces. Same thing with Diablo 1 and Diablo 1 was like my first kind of online multiplayer experience.
Diablo 1, you say? I've only played like half an hour of Diablo 1, and that was after spending maybe 6 months solid on Diablo 2.
Oh, it'd be rough to go back to Diablo 1.
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't get into it, but yeah, it spawned it, didn't it?
But atmospherically, Diablo 1, I think, is the atmospherically speaking, the tone and everything is the pinnacle of that series. Like they've never quite, for me, managed to get it again.
Yeah.
The terror and the mix of the action RPG. They kind of came up with the action RPG with Diablo 1.
But, they cemented it into what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, the clicky action RPG. And then Diablo 2 was just kind of just more and bigger and better. But 3, I didn't get that same tone.
It's very
the first two had.
It's like playing Gauntlet almost. Like this is one thing I've noticed.
That's a good.
It's like a mix between Diablo 2 and Gauntlet. Like it's just chaos. But it's enjoyable chaos. And
well, you hear it when they talk about it. The philosophy switch, where it's like we're about the hero fantasy and the power fantasy and that's not really what Diablo 1 and 2 are about. I mean, the fact that you're hacking and slashing through hordes of monsters was more of a symptom of the game's environment. It wasn't like the goal. It was just like, we're just going to put monsters in, you're going to fight them. But those games felt like they wanted to eat you. Like, wanted to, and it just possess you and tear you apart and, use you in a dark ritual and drink your blood. And Diablo 3 is kind of like, we invite you to slay, these hordes of monsters and feel badass. We want you to feel badass with every click.
Yeah, which you're the hero.
Yeah, and I'm not against that either. It's just I bring it up because it's called Diablo. It's called Diablo 3.
I think that's just a swing across the entire industry, isn't it? Especially
I think so too. Yeah,
and it makes sense. Like.
Well, it's accessible. It's more
people to buy. That's it. Yeah. And Diablo 3, I don't think I've struggled at a single point at any. And I'm playing it on the hardest difficulty available to me, and it's enjoyable though. I like the loot system's pretty good. I really like some of the systems they've put in post finishing. Like once you finish the campaign and the story mode, and you go on to the events and the adventure mode and all the different challenges and things you can do. That's all pretty good. But I agree. I was a huge Blizzard fan, huge up until about Frozen Throne on World of Warcraft. So that was about the point for me that I lost interest in their stuff.
You know what? That's Frozen Throne. I never completed.
It's from there onwards.
Yeah. And I was all about World of Warcraft as well.
Oh yeah, so was I.
I was there at their launch, their midnight launch, where all the devs were there and stuff. And it was in I want to say it was in Irvine, but it might have been in Anaheim. It was out of Fry's Electronics, which is
It was at a Heim. We know that.
It was at a what?
A Heim.
Oh,
Anaheim.
okay. Maybe it was Anaheim then. But I hung out at midnight in line.
Oh yeah.
Just because I was such a huge fan of the real-time strategy games and stuff. I was mostly a fan of the again, like the atmosphere and like I liked the orcs and I liked monsters fighting knights and all that shit. And then World of Warcraft hit, and ever since then, like I brought up the shift in design philosophy.
Yes. Yeah.
And Warcraft has definitely done that, where it's been more like, hey, look at what we as the developers can do. Yeah. And less about, here's a big thing with a cool atmosphere, you go do what you want.
Yeah, World of Warcraft, I have no interest. I tried playing it a little while ago, 6 months ago maybe, with my older brother plays it a lot, and it's like a shared action adventure game now.
It is, yeah.
There's no actual challenge. It's just like Facebook with colourful pictures and colours, and nice hats and lovely shoes, and it's just like no.
Yeah.
But interestingly, they've got this legacy server or something coming out. Like
classic.
Classic.
WoW Classic.
But I think this is one of the most interesting business moves ever. If you peel away what it is and all the nostalgia, they're essentially re-releasing an MMO again from the beginning without doing anything to it as it was, and then they'll just re-release the whole lot all over again over the next 10 years. So it's fucking genius. They're not even bothering. Like, I get it. Everyone wants to play the original WoW because that was back when it was actually good. But all they're going to do is then do Burning Crusades, release that again. People are like, wow, Burning Crusades, great, I'll buy that. And then the next expansion, and the Blizzard people are going to be sitting there laughing, thinking these idiots are buying it all again for no reason.
This is the nostalgia. This is if there's a demon out there that, their concept is nostalgia, this is it manifest. Like how corn is the god of war and blood. If there's a nostalgia demon, this is the beast let loose.
No, it's funny, but I will be interested to see how classic it is.
But I think you're 100% right. They're gonna have launch events for all the fucking expansions. We're gonna be reliving the entire history.
They're not doing it. They're just re-releasing the same game again, and exactly just go through the whole series till they're done again, and then guess what, guys? WoW Classic X2 is coming out.
I can't wait.
People are like, yes.
I can't wait. 15 years from now, it's going to be awesome again.
Yeah, you can play it on your Google contact lens. That's how good it is. Unbelievable. But it's funny, though. I might give it I might check it out, because I really did like it, but I can't see Blizzard keeping their hands out of there. I think they're going to go... I can't see it. I just can't see it being WoW Classic. There's no way they're not going to somehow shoehorn in, after maybe 3 months, once all the media about how great it dies down, then they'll then start to shoehorn in all the buying mounts and, level 99 characters straight out the bat, and, all the quests just popping up as soon as you walk into a zone, and then you can just press a button and kill all the enemies in the room. All that stuff that's been pushed into it over time.
Yeah, I think it all hinges on how the live version of the game is going. Because
I remember when I played it, I was stuck in the Barrens for 2 weeks.
Me too.
Just grinding away like an idiot, killing ostriches over and over again, and I loved it. And then
Baron's chat was so good.
Baron's chat was the one.
Oh man,
Baron's chat,
endless Chuck Norris jokes and
and it just used to
help getting ganked by 260s.
It was crazy. It was a proper MMO at that. But I get what they've done. It's just, even you put someone in front of it who's never played a game, and they'd probably be all right. And MMOs were not very accessible. Never have been before that point.
And I was going to say too, if anybody can pull off the re-release of a classic version of their, and it's not like it hasn't done before. Like I think RuneScape did it, and there are other games that have their legacy servers and stuff. But like this is, I feel that this is different. Like this is a zeitgeist thing, I think. Be
interesting to see what they do.
And if anybody can pull it off, I think it's Blizzard.
Well, they can definitely pull it off. It's just how they do it. That's the only thing that bothers me. I have no quarrels with their ability. They're probably one of the best game designers on earth. Like their company make some of the best games on the planet, and always have, and probably always will. Even the ones I don't really like, but there's no doubt that they are. That they'll want their money.
Well, they are different. Than what they used to be, of course. I mean, there's different people there. Like, same people aren't there anymore.
Oh, of course, it's not even the same company. This is always what happens, isn't it? These sort of AA companies, they just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they all become very similar. This is what I was saying last week about CD Projekt Red. Was it on the Flamecast, or was I talking to someone else about this? I can't even remember. How I think CD Projekt Red, after this game they got coming out.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. NeoCop or whatever it is. What's this new one? Cyber.
Hey, there you go, NeoCop. Patent. Get that. Copyright.
Once that hits, and they explode into sort of EA size.
Cyberpunk 2077 is what's going to change them. Probably.
Yeah, it's going to push them into a corporate Goliath, isn't it? Where and that's just the way it always goes. They're going to make God knows how many billions, and then all the microtransactions and all that stuff will start pouring in over time. Once Tencent buys 40% of them,
Yeah.
Tencent happy.
Once the Chinese government takes over.
Flamecast brought to you by Tencent.
Oh, I can't wait.
Be everything.
Yeah, we'll relaunch Flamecast eventually too, and we'll have Flamecast Classic.
Yeah, a classic. It's exactly the same again. We just re-release it.
Yeah.
10 years time. Glorious.
Yeah.
Glorious. So yeah, Diablo 3, great game. Yeah. I think now. I think it's a good game now. I take back all the horrible things I said about what they did with it.
Well, the environments are gorgeous. Like, I mean, it's it's a as competent as you can get for a for a game. It's just not Diablo to me, unfortunately.
It's not Diablo 2,
but it's a great game.
It's a good fun game. Yeah,
it's a cool game.
But
I think your Gauntlet take on it is appropriate, and actually makes me just a little bit more excited to play more of it.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think they've made Diablo. I think
the story is garbage. I will say that.
Oh yeah, I clicked through most of that. Yeah. Okay, I just want to blow shit up. But Diablo 2, a lot of the fun came from the complexity of certain things. You really had to invest mental power into the game. Whereas Diablo 3, you don't at all.
Oh,
it's a lot more. It's a lot more. Shooty bang.
Coming back to Diablo 3, I was like kind of shocked at first. I was like, wait, I leveled up. Where do I spend my stat points?
You don't.
No, it just does it for you, and you get a goofy looking. Diablo 3 it's almost a mobile game too. Like if you look at it now from that design perspective, it's like very, very simple, very, very pared down user interface stuff. Like leveling up, you get a little, I get to click this thing, and now my guy shoots lasers out of his axe.
Yeah, but it's for the most part it's good. I'd say I'm quite pleased with it. I'll probably put a bit more time into it.
I would like to try it on a console.
Yeah, I'd suggest it. It plays beautifully on the Switch. I'm assuming the Switch is a port of the PS version or the Xbox. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
What they did with it, it's really, really good. Plays really well.
That's good
issues.
to hear.
Yeah. So I think the only issue I ever get is it targets weird enemies, but it doesn't really matter because the game's so sort of chaotic.
Yeah, half the time I don't know what I'm doing anyway in that game.
Yeah.
You're clicking and it's like, okay, I hope something's dying.
Yeah, everything just explodes when I run around. That's pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's damn good. It's damn good.
Yeah. So yeah, games that get updated later on and turn into something completely different, sort of. At least, perception. One thing that pisses me off about Diablo 3 is you can't play it offline.
Can you not?
Yeah, on PC anyway. Like you have
right,
to.
Okay.
If you're just playing by yourself, and that's the way I like it because I'm a curmudgeon. But
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Always.
yeah, if you're just playing it by yourself and your connection lapses or does something weird or drops, it takes you back to the title screen.
That's bollocks.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, you don't need that. What's that about?
I don't know.
I didn't know that.
I mean,
I've never had that
unless
on
there
the
is a way to play it offline, I don't know it. Like I haven't
Yeah.
been able to check, but I know that at launch it was that way too. Like the servers were down, so people couldn't even play single player
Yeah,
Diablo.
I remember it, everyone kicking off about
Error
it.
37.
Oh god. But yeah, good times. Definitely definitely a game I'm looking forward to the 4th. I'll be interested to see what they do with it. Because that's one thing I've got to give Blizzard. Their games are cool to look at. They really are.
You talking about
They do a really
Immortal?
good job. No, God, no, I'm talking about Immortal. I'm
Oh,
talking
okay.
about Diablo 4.
Is there actually a Diablo 4 in the works though?
I'd imagine so, yeah.
We'll
Blizzard,
see.
isn't it? There'll be Diablo 170 if
Okay.
squeeze every drop out of it. Of course they
Yeah.
will. That's definitely happening. So that'll be interesting.
I'm a little skeptical on that one, but I mean,
You don't think there'll be a Diablo 4?
Well, I think Immortal is Diablo 4, but
No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
think
we'll
Blizzard
see.
will be that stupid. They can't survive that being that stupid. You know, I
Yeah.
don't think you could move an IP straight to phone. I think
maybe
it's
they'll
just
give us a Diablo 1 remaster.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Diablo 1 remaster, but it'll just Diablo 2 but it'll just be a re-release. Round and round we go.
Well, and
Same
they
games.
did that recently too on GOG. They put Diablo 1 and 2 on GOG.
I saw that. Yeah, that was interesting. I was quite amazed to see that.
But I think what a lot of people want is the Warcraft 3 Reforged thing.
Oh yeah.
I think people want them to do that to Diablo.
Oh, okay. Who knows what they'll do?
Yeah.
Who knows? But whatever they do, they'll do it well. I
Yeah, and
suppose.
whatever they do, we do have phones.
Exactly. We've all got
Whether we
phones,
use
right?
it for them or not is
Yeah. Bloody ridiculous. I don't want to play Diablo. Who wants to play Diablo on a phone?
I don't want to play anything on a phone.
No, nor do I. Nor do I.
I want to send and receive calls.
Yeah. God damn. Right, anyway, that's Diablo 3, Tobor.
It sure is.
What's your final take on Diablo 3?
Pretty good.
Not bad. A solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah, solid. But that's you're good luck knocking that 7 down because it's
It's a solid 7.
Yeah.
I think it falls slightly short of 2, just in its depth and in its sort of purpose. I think the arcadiness of it is good fun, but it takes away the long tail, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, and that's the problem too, right? It's like it's called Diablo, so how do we measure it against the other ones? You know,
El Diablo.
El
I don't know,
Diablo.
but it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I'd recommend it. Right, moving on. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be discussing some topics that have besmirched the games industry and our minds over the last few days.
Jesus.
Tobor and WINDYBEARD rant about gaming and other things. Turns out that it's not safe for work, but this is something you'll enjoy. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a little bit about Final Fantasy VII Remake that's coming.
Yeah.
That just reared its head again recently, didn't it? If you saw that.
That's a good way to put it.
What's that? Yeah. See, I'm sort of torn about how I feel about it, right? Because
Yeah.
in the first place, I always get a bit like, oh, you don't need to remake it. Why remake it and change it? But at the same time, it's not going to affect the original, is it? It's still going to exist.
Yeah. Well,
But,
and here's the thing that bothers me just a little bit about these complete. And when we say remake, it's like fucking remake. Like,
yeah, ground up, everything.
yeah. I'd much rather just have a new thing.
Oh, I would, 100%, yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
Like-
every time.
Yeah.
time.
And Final Fantasy VII too. Like, I could go on a tangent about Final Fantasy VII in general, but
Yeah.
having the new bits and pieces that they've showed us. This is such a long. It's like they produce a tech demo every once in a while when they can get around to it
Yeah.
for Final Fantasy VII. So who knows how much of this is smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
how
like
much-
they're using Final Fantasy VII Remake as just an... So there's a game we'll never see. It's just used to keep people interested in Square.
Say again. I'm sorry, your mic cut out.
Did I cut? God damn it!
Ah!
It said the Final Fantasy VII Remake is most likely just a marketing ploy to keep people interested in Square. So they're just tempt people. Yeah. Look at these videos. Look at our game that maybe we are making. Who knows?
It's to maintain like the company value.
Yeah, because everything they've done since has been a bit. In comparison. That was
Oh,
kind
you
of
guys.
their pinnacle, in my opinion.
What
Yeah,
hasn't really dropped in quality though is Dragon Quest. So there's that.
Oh yeah.
I do like Dragon
Final
Quest.
Fantasy 9 was good. I like 9. I keep meaning to play 10. I've never really played 10. I played a little bit of it. I never really played it again. But
I've played them all at launch.
oh yeah, I played that shit one with lightning. I can't remember what that was.
13.
That was absolute garbage. Yeah, I hated that.
Lucky
Trash.
13.
Absolute trash. Yeah, garbage.
I wasn't into that one either.
Yeah, and the newest one, the old shiny boys. I didn't like that. All driving along in a car, all handsome. No,
Is it 15 or 415?
I don't even know now. I think. Do you know what? I think there should placed in global law where any IP cannot legally surpass a third sequel. That is it. The companies then have to go right back to the drawing board. Let's do. They should be allowed 15. Final Fantasy 15.
That's monstrous. Oh,
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Except Dragon Quest. Leave my Dragon Quest alone. They can do as many as they want to do.
I suppose it's different with RPGs though, because they're all different stories and different worlds mostly. So I'll let them off. But
Well, Final Fantasy 15 has strayed so far and crazy.
again, it's the arcading it up a bit, isn't it?
Well,
Accessibility.
they come and they ebb and flow like in and out like a wave.
Wave.
They like a wave. God, they're all over the place. So it's like, how come some of these aren't? Well, and here's the fucking thing too: is some of them go through crazy development cycles as a different named thing.
Yeah.
And then they'll eventually come back around to, you know what? Let's just fucking put Final Fantasy on it and
Yeah.
or whatever. Or they're developed as spin-offs or something, but then they're like, well, shit, we fucked up yet again, so we'll just make this an actual numbered entry into the series. So it's just wacky. But I will say I did like 15.
Yeah. I never played it. I saw it and just thought, it's bloody...
it did not appeal to me in the slightest. Except for I love the creature designs.
Oh yeah, that is good, yeah.
So
it looks damn good. It
Yeah.
does look impressive. Like they've done a damn good job visually.
Yeah, the tech and everything behind it, and the world design and the monster design and stuff. Like I wound up really warming to it when I was playing it. I was like, I kind of like hanging out with these characters, surprisingly. But the Final Fantasy VII thing is just like I don't think they know what they're doing over there.
I think they've got themselves in a situation, right? They should never have started this because no matter what they do, it's
everyone's
like
going to hate
Final
them.
Fantasy VII's on such a pedestal, that they cannot beat the original. There's nothing they can do to beat it. No matter how good this game is, the rose-tinted glasses of Final Fantasy VII are just too thick.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be creating a game that's probably going to turn out to be a good game. It's clearly a reskin of 15, isn't it? Like they're going to reskin Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah,
15.
it's probably running on the same tech and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it's going to be a major reskin of that, and it's just going to be fan service, isn't it? So it's going to be all the shit from Final Fantasy that's sort of key moments.
Tifa's tits are too small. Tifa's tits are too big.
Yeah, exactly.
Barrett's racist.
And because I think back then they had so much restriction on what they could do. So, everything was. There's such a big game. There's no way this game's going to be that size. So it's going to be some scaled down, small version. I imagine you don't go on the world. I can't see how they're going to. 7. There's no way. There's no way.
Well, that has been what they have put forward for over the last, what is it, like 2 or 3 years now, or for this?
I can't see it. I can't see it.
They've talked about doing episodic content, where the first one will be you in Midgard.
Yeah.
Right. You've played 7, right?
Oh yes, many times. Yes.
Okay. I was originally I only played it once, and I wasn't that taken with it.
Really?
You know? Yeah, I was a big 6 guy.
A lot of people. I hear that.
Yeah, it was 3 in the States. They released it as Final Fantasy 3 over here.
It's quite a visual difference in the two.
Oh,
it's like a completely different place. Yeah. It's a completely different vibe. Yeah, I get that.
Well, and I was a little disappointed with the scope of 7's story, and like I kind of didn't understand what the hell the characters even were. Some of them.
All right.
I was like, Cloud's weird. I guess I'll go into a new battle.
He's an emo pre-emo, isn't he?
Well, and he's like, he's got amnesia, and his past might not be the past that he was conditioned
it's convoluted, that's for sure.
to remember. Yeah, except like the Tifa character remembers him, so he's real. But then they keep putting in another. I mean, I'm sure Final Fantasy VII, nuts have it all figured out. But
yeah, well,
it got too crazy for me, and it was much more of a character piece, I think, than anything else. And then 6 was like a globe-trotting adventure about like, a war and like rebels and an imperial thing. It was much it was grand but simple. And what was awesome about it was the world ends in 6. Like at halfway through the game, the world gets reshaped and it's like a post-apocalyptic thing, and then you play through it again and all these different locations are all altered and like the sky is all weird. It was just cool. It was neat.
I don't think I played 6 through. But I think Final Fantasy VII was an absolute belter of a game. I think whether it's your favourite Final Fantasy or not, I think when people say it's bad, I always sort of think, you don't know what you're talking about. But
I don't think it's a bad game at all. Like I was still blown away with it. But
yeah, see, I never got on with Final Fantasy VIII. I didn't enjoy it. I've tried to play it a few times, and I just don't get into it at all.
Yeah, 8's weird.
But a lot of people really love it. A lot of people say it's the best one. And I think that's people always argue about usually 6, 7, and 8 and 9 being the 4 that people discuss, but I don't think this remake's going to be any good personally. I think it's just going to be it'll do incredibly well, probably break record just because it's a Final Fantasy VII remake. But I think at its core, it's going to just be a crappy remake, of an absolutely amazing game. It'll just be
the tech is going to look gorgeous.
Yeah, look how many of you'll be able to see every single one of Cloud's hairs.
Yeah.
I can't remember
all the studs on his shoulder pad.
That's it. Jim Sterling was doing a video about it. Actually, I watched it yesterday, and he makes some very good points. It's all going to be about Sephiroth and how cool he is, and it's not actually going to be about the story or the actual characters or the game. It's going to be about how hot the characters are and how moody Sephiroth is.
Yeah, it's fanscape revisionism.
Yeah, exactly. It's just going to play into
whatever people resonated with in the first iteration. Yeah, they're going to double down on it for the next one, for the remake.
Yeah. And that's what it'll all be about. It'll be about those key moments. It won't be about the game being, a pleasure to play all the way through. It'll just be a hack and slashy sort of thing with these amazing key moments that people go, wow, I remember this kid.
Yeah.
And then,
there's a million memes about this thing. I love this.
Yeah. Hey, look, I've just bought Cloud another earring for $2.99. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of Final Fantasy VII, supposedly there's some controversy, Tobor, if you could explain.
I don't believe it for a second. Not for a second. What do you want about?
So you said, I haven't read this article, but you said you found something where a gaming journalist is upset because they think Barrett from Final Fantasy VII is racist.
Now this person... They kick off the article with I haven't played Final Fantasy VII, but
it's going to be good.
Oh, here we go.
It's going to be good.
Yeah. However, and then I guess the whole thing is to a lot of people, well, to a very small percentage of professional video games writers, columnists, whatever you want to.
Yes.
Journalists. They think that Barrett is a racist stereotype of a black man, and they're complaining that he sounds like Mr. T.
He's clearly based on him, isn't he?
He is, yeah. That's what I was like. Isn't he? He's supposed to be Mr. T. He's supposed to be a take on Mr. T.
Who's an eco warrior. That's it. He's just big angry Barrett. Yeah,
well, the funny thing about Barrett too is I think that he was one of the most fleshed out characters in that game.
Yeah, he is.
He's got an orphan. He's conflicted with his terrorist ways.
Yeah, you go back to his hometown and they all hate him. You go into the desert. I don't know if you remember it that well when you're at the Gold Saucer. You go into the desert and meet his old partner. And
that's ringing a bell. It's been a long time,
but suicide scene and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely amazing character. Amazing character.
I do remember he was one of the only characters that I really understood from. I mean, maybe him and and Tifa was just like the hot bar chick, pretty much, who liked Cloud. And I mean, she was his conduit to his memory, I guess, or something.
Ares was a cool character, though.
Yeah, I liked her too. Like she seemed to.
She was interested.
Yeah, like I understood her and Barrett pretty much, and and I mean the side characters were just that. They were just kind of side characters, and they had their. But as far as fleshed out,
but that fucking robot Kate Sith or whatever you call it was one of the worst bloody I've ever seen in any game ever. I don't know where that came from.
Japan.
Must have been on crack.
Japan.
Must have been on crack. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird. I did think he was kind of funny though, like how he was an exec or something that was controlling it remotely.
Yeah, clever.
Yeah,
it's good. Great game. Fucking racist. Come on. Like, what would make him unracist?
That's my question. Like, where's the line? What should he
remove his personality?
Yeah, what should he sound like? You know?
Yeah, what should he do? He should have no thoughts either way. You know, it's such a shame because why turn games into that? Why do it? You know, why does everything have to be negative? It's a great character in an awesome game, and it has to be a problem to someone, to these people. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Well, and then what? Like, is Mr. T shitty now? Like,
is Mr. T racist? And also on this, like, in talking about, it's a black male character who's one of the most famous characters in one of the most famous games of all time. He's like a main character in the game. Like,
way to knock him down several. Yeah, you know,
exactly. It's a great thing. He's an absolutely awesome character and probably one of the best in it, if you want my opinion. Better than Cloud. Cloud's pretty dull, in my opinion.
Yeah, Cloud. Not only is his whole situation very convoluted, as you put it, but and I get maybe the design of that is to allow you to step into him a little, but
of course,
but he's got enough irritating quirks that you don't really relate with him.
Cheer up. That's what you want to say. Cheer up, Cloud.
Shut up. Like, you got a big awesome sword, like, you know, hot babes around you, and you're
adventuring.
Yeah, fighting monsters and saving the world. Come on, man.
Summoning gods.
Come on.
What's wrong with you?
Controlling the elements.
God damn it, Cloud. Just pull yourself together, man.
Yeah.
He was, exactly. Great.
That's probably abusive, though. So
probably.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one's said it's offensive that he's clearly depressed, which is being mocked throughout the game.
Oh, that's coming.
No one's. No, that's coming.
Yeah. Final Fantasy VII is insensitive to people with mental issues.
Yeah.
You heard it here first on the FLAMECAST.
Yeah, FLAMECAST. I tell you, it's absolutely ridiculous. Don't shit on games like that, people. It's not racist. He's a great character.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, how about all the other people that sound kind of like him?
Yeah.
Like, are they racist now? Are they shitty? Like, you know, a lot of African American sports players and shit. It's like,
yeah.
Barrett's a macho dude. Like, he's a bruiser.
Yeah.
He's got a really complex backstory.
Yeah, great character. It doesn't need to be whittled. I think most of this is a joke anyway. I think I'm so torn. I can't believe that these journalists and these people actually believe what they're saying.
Yeah.
I just can't. Sometimes I go, do they really mean this?
See, what's happened is there's a pocket of reality that is stuck in an April 1st loop somewhere. Yeah. And that's where they all are. We hear it and it's like outrage, and it's like they're just joking. But
just enjoy the game. Like, no one's having a pop at you. Just relax.
yeah, the game's gonna suck anyway.
Yeah, probably. It probably is. It's going to look good, but it'll be quickly forgotten.
No, you know what? I'll probably play it. You know what? I kind of want to.
This is how it's going to win because I'm probably going to play it. I think everyone on Earth who's ever played a Final Fantasy game is going to play that remake.
Regardless of how they feel about Mr. T.
Regardless of how they feel about Mr. T, regardless of how they feel about the reviews it gets, even if it's dog shit, I'll still have to play it, you know? And I think that's probably the case for most people who play video games on Earth. So they are, it's a shoo-in for them.
Well, it's going to be a cultural touchstone, so people are going to want to, you know.
Yeah. It's going to be an important game.
Yeah.
Whether it's shit or not, it's going to be an important game to see, you know?
Yeah. So, WoW Classic and Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh, it's going to be good. We can't get past our youth.
Yeah, it kind of needs to stop. I wish some of these companies would put all of their effort into something new, you know. It would be nice to see.
Yeah.
I say as I'm making GO2, you know.
Well, I mean, I don't know that that's necessarily the same thing, but
not really. But it's still true, isn't it? You know. But yeah, so that's Final Fantasy VII and Barrett being racist.
Yeah.
Now we sorted that one out.
With these, the expert reporting and opinioning that a lot of these journalists are doing these days. I'm kind of torn on this because Bethesda's Rage 2 account kind of took down one of these guys a peg, you know. But I also am kind of like, I don't really like Bethesda right now either. But
I love it. I think it's absolutely glorious.
Oh, it's yeah.
So what is it they did?
So you just watched a video on it, so I can't remember exactly the context it was in, but some journalist said something on Twitter, and then Bethesda's Rage 2 Twitter account fired back with, "Who even are you, lol?" Like LOL. No caps or punctuation or anything.
It was a journalist for Forbes. And the article was titled something down the lines of, if you didn't know, and I didn't know, Rage 2 comes out in a few weeks and no one really cares.
That was
something
it.
down those lines. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And they just cut him down.
Well, it's like, what do you fucking expect? Like, your shit was all shitty, so you give shit,
So
you expect to get shit.
Okay. Who are you? What?
Who are you, lol?
Just what is the point in that article, though? What is there to gain from writing that? There is, apart from the clearly clicks for being an asshole. Like, what is there?
Yeah.
Just why you have two chances there, right? To bring visibility. One is to just say, "Who gives a shit? No one cares," or say, "Hey, Rage 2 comes out. Let's get excited. It's going to be a good game." Like, that's the two choices, but they chose, let's just have a pop at Bethesda and their new game for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, and I personally think Bethesda responded quite nicely, to be honest. I think it was a fair comment.
I think it's hilarious.
Funny.
And deserved.
Yeah.
100% deserved.
Yeah.
And you're probably right. Like they could have leaned into it even a little more, and it would have been permissible. Yeah. I think for what that article was.
Yeah.
But what's funny about it too is it's like, does that person not use YouTube? I don't, because every time I've been fucking watching any video, there's always a Rage 2 ad, like right in my, and it's been that way for like a couple of weeks or so. Yeah,
it looks good as well. I see it's getting some shitty reviews on Steam, but that's pretty much par for the course now, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, yeah.
With AAA on Steam, I don't know what's wrong with Steam users anymore. Why is it like that? But
well, I wonder if who knows if they're, and I haven't looked at this or really dug any at all into it, but who knows if there's like some functional issue.
Probably.
Like maybe it needs a patch or something.
Like Fallout 76, so quickly put a review on their new game just to really hit it home. It's ridiculous, but I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think even at the high level, I think it's easy to forget that there's still people in these companies who give a shit about their games.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I think everyone expects this weird relationship where game companies are infinitely sensible and never upset, and always bowing down to the all-powerful journalist, like there's some sort of powerful control of the industry, like
and infinitely accommodating to them. Like, here's all of our news. Here's all of our what's going on.
No, it's the other way around. This power, the dynamic of power is so ridiculously wrong in perception that this is Bethesda. This is one of the biggest gaming companies on Earth, owned by probably one of the biggest companies on the planet, right? And some dickhead who works for Forbes just shitting on the product at Forbes as well. That's not some small magazine, is it?
Yeah, and it's not a gaming exclusive magazine either.
No, just for no reason. Just take an absolute swing at a company and their product for no real reason.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. Just because you didn't know it was coming out.
Yeah, what a weird article. It's
odd. It's odd.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, right? Which is again, it was the quartering. I think it was the quartering. There was a video.
Yes, yeah, that's the video I sent you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we might get burned for that one on the FLAMECAST for listening to the quartering.
Is that bad? Is it?
It is. Yeah. Didn't you know? You're racist.
No, I didn't know this. Oh God.
We're Nazis, and
Oh, is it one? I watch every video from all of the. I like to get my views from a full spectrum of reviewer and previewer.
Me too. Yeah. Like Jim Sterling, you brought up. I like to watch his stuff too.
I don't always agree with Jim Sterling. Mostly I don't, but I still watch his content because I'm interested in other people's opinions and points of view, Tobor. That's what makes the world a better place.
You're nuts.
I know. It might seem like an outlet to listen, even if you don't agree. But that's
nope. You're dead to me. Podcast over.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, my favorite YouTuber, Watering. He was also. No, I do like his videos.
Surprise! I'm wearing one of his shirts right now.
Yeah, a lot of it's trying to whip people up, I think, but for the most part, the news he covers.
He's got a sensationalist edge to him,
but he makes good points and he picks up on good stuff that I otherwise wouldn't have seen.
Right.
But he made a point that it kind of reeks of this Forbes person being a bit sort of upset that they weren't given some sort of like pre-release package. You know, they weren't gifted Rage 2 and loads of special gifts from Bethesda say, hey, review our game and all this.
That was a thing. How long ago was that? Where Bethesda was like, okay, we're not doing early pre-release things anymore. We want everybody to be on the same. And of course that it's corporate bullshit speak on their end too.
But I think the whole industry's going that way because I don't think any AAA company in their right mind is going to think, right, well, let's hand out copies to these people because all these people do is shit on stuff to get clicks. That's it. So it's like, well, what's the benefit of that?
Yeah, they don't treat us fairly. So
no, they definitely don't. Yeah. And it's still, at the end of the day, a business. So they're not going to give out their product for early review just to have it shat on because that's going to hurt them. So
they don't owe IGN anything.
No. They don't, and all these companies, and that's the problem. This power dynamic, isn't it? Where the journalist thinks they're this all powerful. You know, these companies bow down to us. When in fact, these companies just turn off the tap, and you'll never see a game again without buying it. And then
they are swiftly, if not already, like I kind of feel like it's already past the video game journalism apocalypse. Like they've maneuvered themselves into the ground into.
They've ruined themselves.
Irrelevancy, you know.
It's the death rattle, isn't it? This of that industry, in my opinion. This sensational negativity all the time.
Yeah,
you know, always trying to find Barrett is racist. This is just anything that they can do just to say hello.
It's the cornered raccoon.
Yeah,
I guess for you it would be the cornered pine marten.
Oh yes, the pine marten. Yeah, it's going straight for the jugular. You know. I think it's a shame though, because I used to like games journalism. I used to read a lot of it, and I used to buy magazines and all this stuff.
I adored gaming magazines.
And if someone gave me the choice, right, and I mean this, if someone gave me the choice between an official Nintendo magazine, right, and modern gaming journalism, I'll pick the official Nintendo magazine. I want to read about good games. I want to see happy pictures. I want to be told what games are going to be worth buying, even if it's all of them.
Yeah.
I don't want to be told they're all not worth buying.
Yeah.
No one wants that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No.
Yes. Yeah. Just.
Hey, keep your eyes peeled for the Planet Tobor Megadex.
Megadex from Tobor, there, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be an absolute belter
with WindyBeardGames content.
Oh. When's that coming? When's that hitting shelves?
Who knows? I'll put it into early access. You guys can buy it a page at a time.
Oh no, it's good. And I think I don't just to make clear, as we like to do, because I don't want to upset anyone. I don't think every single journalist is a dickhead.
No, of course not.
I don't think every single YouTuber is just trying to get clicks, even though they are. But I think it's just too heavily weighted in the wrong way now.
Yeah,
they're dragging themselves to death.
And a part of this outrage stuff has kind of turned into entertainment anyway, and that's not a new thing.
No.
Anyway, like
but it's gone too far. It's gone way too far. It's gone way too far. You know, just a funny satirical sort of take on something ridiculous used to be amusing, but now it just seems like everything is a joke. When in fact,
it's all that now. And we're talking about Bethesda and Rage 2 and stuff. And journalism. There's another article that came out in Polygon that you linked me to about how the reviewer is upset at the way the mutants look because it makes them feel bad about their physical deformity.
Yeah, so this was shared to me by one of my and essentially
sorry, say again. It was shared to you by whom?
It was shared with me by one of my Discord members.
Bless them.
Yeah, bless them. Whip me right up. I think it's one of these situations you got to tread carefully. So if I misstep, I'm not having a pop at disabled people, right? Let's first of all, we got to clear as day.
We got to we got to pre-qualify everything
exactly.
that we don't wish to murder.
Yeah.
Anyone with physical any disfigurements or
right. So now that that's out of the way, we've insulated ourselves from critique, and let's move ahead.
Completely and totally safe.
Yeah, exactly. So this reporter, right, has a cleft lip. It's been repaired, obviously, when they were a child, right? Nasty business. All right, it happens to too many people on this planet.
Yes.
But luckily, there's surgery that can fix it, right? Anyway, a lot of the mutants in Rage 2 have a cleft lip, right?
Yeah.
So that makes them feel like they're being represented as mutant. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Which is fucking ridiculous.
Right.
At its very core, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know? So
and supposedly they spoke with the someone at Bethesda. I don't know if it was the designer or whatever. I did read it and made this clear to them. And they said, "Yeah, we'll look into it. We don't want to offend any." Which is a fair comment. You know, it's a fair comment. You can't design games like this. They didn't give these mutants a cleft lip to insult disabled people.
Right.
Who the fuck thinks that? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. I do now.
Yeah, well now I do, and I'm angry at Bethesda. Exactly. I'm going to go review Rage 2 negative. Like, why would you think that? Why would you think that?
Yeah.
Like I think that they're pissing about, but at the same time, I don't know if they are. You know,
no.
If you look at a game and go,
I don't think that they are. Like, I think that a lot of this is the way some of these people actually think.
Yeah, that's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, no one knows where the line is. And it's like, okay, so what should the mutants look like? Or what should, maybe they have hunchbacks. Well, what about the fucking people with hunchback, like... spinal deformities or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, can't do that.
What are we doing? Yeah.
Can't do that.
And if you make them all cookie cutter able-bodied, then it's like, oh, there's not enough representation. Like, not everybody looks like, a fit mutant.
Yeah. Well, granted, the mutants aren't probably a positive representation of someone with a cleft lip.
Correct.
But I don't think at any point ever has anyone ever in the design process thought this could be offensive to people. And I don't think it's wrong that they never did.
Right.
You know, like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to even go down that line. I can't even respond to that. How ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
To sit there and feel offended by that. It's just mental.
If I was offended by characters with asthma in fiction.
Well, yeah.
You know, like I could have had a field day long ago and over and over again. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's like, do you know what that's like? That's like you going, when the new Fantasy comes out, do you know what? I'm actually a little bit insulted that there's not a better representation of asthmatics.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no.
For too long, I've had to resort to headcanon to really relate with a character and give them the hurdle of short breath as they take on their foes.
Yeah. Absolutely
for validation. I can't find validation anywhere else otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how they get through the world. I don't know how they get through their lives if that sort of thing upsets you.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's fair for this person to probably say, hey, Bethesda, have you thought about this? And leave it there. You know, just in a private email, if that's what they want to do, or a conversation at an event.
Yeah.
I don't think pushing it forward and trying to get to the CEO, speaking to them, doing an article all about that, that's an absolute joke. You know.
Well,
have a look at yourself in the mirror, pal.
Here's the thing is, I am 100% all for them writing that article.
Oh yeah.
But then we also get to have our fun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Take on it.
if they, yeah, God Christ, yeah, because there'd be people watching this. Not many, but there could be one or two watching this thinking these geezers are idiots, and that's fine.
Yeah,
you're entitled to your opinion. You're wrong, but you're entitled to it.
Yeah, 1 or 2 people watching this out of the 10 that would.
Yeah, the tens of people. Yeah. But it's I think it's just a crazy old world we live in, Tobor.
It is.
I don't know why that person can't just go, oh, that's a fun game.
Yeah. Well, and what's also funny about it too is in I think this is a headline. I'm not sure, but it's just because a developer listens doesn't mean they hear us.
No, yeah.
Shouldn't it be just because a developer hears us doesn't mean they listen?
Yeah, but that would require some sort of intelligent writing. Yeah.
It's just it's just so indicative, you know. It's of the philosophy and the.
Is that another sign that this is a piss take?
I don't know. You know, you could be right that it's a. You know, the maybe the editor was like, okay, do something stupid because we need the clicks or we need the whatever.
Yeah. Have we stumbled upon it? Like this is. I feel like I'm going insane because I really am trying to figure out the line between what is a joke and what is a real article is so blurred. You know. Yeah. And I know it's blurred based on opinion as well, depending on what you think of it. But at the same time, I don't think there's anyone on earth who would read that article and agree with it. Like, I just can't see. Maybe parts of it. Even I agree with parts of it. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, "Hey, Bethesda, cleft lip, and all your mutants have cleft lips, and I feel bad." Right? Fair enough.
Sure.
But the whole premise of it being what it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to that. You know, Sekiro hates disabled people because, you know, what XYZ. It's just insane kind of entitlement and whipping everybody up into a frenzy, which I think is the point, probably. Yeah, you know, it's the business. 100%. It's the business of it.
Which again goes round full circle as to why games media is a bit of a joke, you know.
Yeah. And I have a bit of a personal story about this, where I took Savage to DreamHack.
Oh yeah.
And I was really the only person, maybe one of 2 people, I think, unless I'm mistaken. I probably am, but there weren't very many indies there at all.
Okay.
And I was one of the only people there with anything like Savage. You know, it's like, it's a video game. It's a guy with a sword. It's a 2D platformer. You kill things. Yeah. So, and I think that's really the only reason why PC Gamer came by my booth, and they did an interview and they did a video and they captured some of the gameplay and everything, and it was like, yeah, fucking PC Gamer, this is gonna be awesome. Yeah. but yeah, good time for early retirement. But then I see the article go up, and it's basically like, you know, man makes video game inspired by the worst Zelda. That's the way they couch it. You know?
What a dickhead.
Oh, it was. I mean,
so what?
Granted, the article may not have gotten the attention it did if he had just said something like, you know, guy makes interesting looking barbarian 2D
Very
RPG
true.
thing.
Very true.
But he had to put that sensational flavor on top.
Just drop a deuce on your game there, just for a laugh.
Yeah.
There's just no need.
Like it is like that's one of the points I brought up to him was like I really liked Zelda 2 on the Nintendo Entertainment System growing up, and I kind of wanted to put some of those mechanics and philosophies in there. Like the world map and the jumping and stabbing down and like all that crap. But he ran with that little.
What an asshole!
Yeah,
what an absolute asshole.
And then you look at the comments and it's like, and then it turns into a huge argument about which Zelda is really the worst one.
Yeah, well,
and to be fair, like people calling him names because there it attracted some Zelda 2 fans in there.
Like you said, was it tailored that way to try and get more clicks? Probably.
Oh yeah, I think 100%.
Still, why would you just float through an event, see an indie, right? One of the only indies there. Have a look at his game, bring him in for a chat because this person could be thinking, "Oh, PC game, and this could change everything for me." You're all excited. Yeah, this is why I've done it. This is my hopes and dreams. Bang. Makes a game based on shittest game ever made. What an idiot! Like, who do you think you are? You know what I mean? Who do you think you are? There's just no need. It's just. It reeks of what's wrong, man. It reeks of it.
Yeah. So I don't blame people, companies, developers, publishers blacklisting.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Well, and there's the whole thing too with journalists in an uproar over Ubisoft saying that they don't want to politicize their games too.
Oh yeah.
What the hell?
Well, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Why? I think the main gaming caught in this bubble of self-importance. They forget that probably 90% of people who play video games just play video games.
Say again.
I think 99.9% of all people who play video games just play video games. They don't.
Right.
They don't want political agendas. They don't want. They don't want to be told they're wrong. They don't want to be told what's offensive. They just want to play the game and then turn it off.
How they should think, how they should feel, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Christ, I don't want to start playing games where it starts trying to tell me about saving the environment and, why I should probably, turn the tap off a little bit quicker just to save water. I don't want that in my games. If anything, I want to leave the tap on because it's...
and you can be allegorical too.
Yeah.
To a degree, and Final Fantasy VII we were talking about earlier, and there's the eco warrior kind of slant.
But I think
to
that
was
just an awesome story.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Well, that was the world that they lived in. Like there was a thing that was sucking out the planet's energy, and they wanted to blow it up.
Yeah, it wasn't set about to write a game to try and change people's opinion about the environment. That's not what it was. It was a game that just seemed to touch on subjects that are relevant to our world.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't Earth, was it? So, to be honest, it gives a shit. They could have blown it up. It doesn't make a difference.
Sure.
It's not our world that they're portraying, but it's the themes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like journalists want a video game that just comes right out and says Trump is bad. That's what they want.
Yeah. I don't know what the point is, but I think you can actually see it across the industry. All of the publishers and the AAAs pulling away in every regard into these small insulated little places that they control themselves because they've been burnt so much. And also I don't think it's entirely because of that. I think it's also because they can control the narrative better.
Oh, there's some corporate bullshit in there too. Like
of course,
yeah.
But I think it's 50-50.
Yeah.
I don't think all these companies are pulling away from giving out early review copies, skipping E3 and all this. I don't think they're doing it entirely because of the journalists and the reviewers and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also because, most of people who cover anything nowadays just cover it in a negative light. And
right.
I wouldn't send out a game to someone who's...
They go way off topic.
Yeah. Like that geezer who's moaning about the Rage 2. They're not going to send him a copy of their game, are they? Like say, we'll send you this copy of this game, even though you got upset and wrote a slanderous article about our last game because it had a cleft palate in it.
Well, especially now it's like, well, okay, we made a game with orcs in it.
Yeah.
We got to make sure not to send any review keys to anyone with green skin.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, you know.
But I don't have green skin and I'm not represented. So I'm offended. I'm going to write an article.
Right,
Bang.
and they didn't send me a copy.
Yeah. And you see a lot of YouTubers listed by X, Y, and Z. You think, well, I'm not surprised. You've got probably 600 videos, not a single one of them is positive. You know, like if you was to look at that from a business perspective, you think, is this a good place to send my game? No,
you would say
think
no.
it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's bad. You know, it's like I've had some. I had an email once from some website asking for copies of my games to review, and the website was
The website. Did you?
The website
Was that a little bit of a slip?
It was just it was a website for like shit games, asking me for keys, and I'm thinking, well, first of all, screw you, right? And second of all, why would I possibly give you keys?
We want something to shoot at. We run out of targets over here.
Exactly. And I had another one that was, oh Christ, they wanted to review the game based on how much they think it's worth in monetary value. That was another one. I think, well, why would anyone send their game to review if you're just going to say, well, it's not worth $9.99, it's worth $3.99, so don't ever buy it. The game's shit. Like,
God,
what?
yeah,
it's just weird. You think you're that important that I would I would subject my work to, and that's the same all the way up. You know?
Yeah. Well, and there are people that don't fucking finish these games either, or even give them a fair shake.
No, exactly.
My friend released the game, and he there was a website that covered it, and they gave it a 4 out of 10. The game is not a 4 out of 10, but one of the points that he brought up in the article was that there wasn't enough content.
Yeah.
You can fucking look at that guy's Steam profile.
Yeah.
To see how long he played the game for half an hour.
Yeah.
You can check his achievements. He didn't get to the first boss, like the real first boss in the game.
Unbelievable. Just making it up.
Oh my God. And to rub it in, that review affected the game's Metacritic Metascore or whatever. It's like, are you fucking kidding?
I had a similar run-in once. I'm not going to name them just in case I get it wrong. But when Sweezy Gunner came out, so like I was saying earlier, it was a bit of a different landscape. That made games when I released Sweezy Gunner. So
say again.
So when I released Sweezy Gunner, it was a different landscape. So there was less games around. So you got picked up a lot easier by these news outlets, right?
Yeah.
Did that come through, or did I break up?
No, you're good. Yeah.
Good. Anyway, I got picked up by a fairly reputable company to review it, and I was all excited. Anyway, the review came in; it was out of 5, and they gave it a 3 out of 5, right? Mm-hmm. Which isn't too bad, right? I'll take that. I'm quite happy with that. Out of 5 is a very weird number.
It is, yeah.
We'll take a 3 out of 5. Anyway, so I read through the review, and when it got down to the negatives, there was only like a few in the negative, and one of them was Sweezy Gunner. Oh, it's in early access, so knock 1 point off for that. So I messaged them saying, it's not in fucking early access. What are you talking about? My game's not in early access. It's a full release. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They said, oh, sorry, we'll remove that from the review. Apologies. Removed it. Still kept the 3 out of 5.
But didn't change the score, yeah.
Didn't change the score. Just removed the thing that said fucking in early access, so -1 point.
Why would they be reviewing it if they thought it was in early access anyway, and if that would be a negative?
Because they don't play these games.
They
turn it on for like 20 minutes and then just write a review that's made up. That's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, obviously your point is like they didn't even know it was. They didn't know anything about it. Basically,
they knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing about the game. They used the screenshots from my Steam page. This is what most of them do. They don't. I remember back in the day they used to take their game. Nah, not anymore.
Die Hard Game Fan was awesome with that.
Oh yeah.
They had they were some of the best screenshots in the business at the time. They had a very complicated way to get almost perfectly digitized screenshots. And this is in the era of like Super Nintendo and TurboGrafx 16 and the impending PlayStation and stuff like that. And they just and they were fun, man. They were so fun. They had comics and stuff. All of their writers had avatars. Like they were Like the editor in chief was called Monitor, and he was like a superhero buff like body thing with a computer monitor head, and like
excellent.
It was just cool, and they had comics like little mini adventures about them and stuff.
It was when they bothered.
Yeah, and they would put reviewers, like you could see their profiles about like this guy likes beat 'em ups and he likes anime and he likes so they would put that guy on a Sailor Moon beat 'em up or something.
Yeah.
And they would talk about like imports and shit, and they were all, you could tell they were all fucking just nerds. Like they just really loved,
just hyped for everything that was coming.
Yeah. And they put the appropriate people on the appropriate stuff, and they would they would put like opposing viewpoints in a little blurb in a box. It was like from a guy who maybe didn't like the genre or something, and he's like it was a fun way to digest all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't want to run the risk of sounding nostalgic or something, but I do think it was better quality stuff to consume. You look at some of these sites anymore, there's no inspiration or personality with the way that they just look and present themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just adverts.
Yeah, they're shitty templates and
Yeah, it's such a shame. It's such a shame.
Yeah.
And granted,
Megadex. That's why Megadex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Granted, a lot of these old magazines and stuff were paid for by the companies sending in games, right?
Yeah.
And I don't care. I don't care. To be honest, it's got to the point now where I don't care. I would quite happily read a review that says the game's better than it is, rather than reading a review that says it's worse than it actually is. If you've got the two choices, if they seem to be the two choices, the old way is game is a 9 out of 10 when it's probably, but now it's like this game's a 3 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, and the tones are so cynical anyway.
Yeah. There's no this game is fun, this is awesome, this bit's great, you're gonna like this. It's none of that anymore. It's just this is garbage because
hashtag not all articles. But generally speaking, it's all it's just a doom and gloom kind of.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a real shame, but that's the way things go, I suppose.
Yeah.
People love a good angry rant. Hence, us. Oh. Yeah. So that's that really. It's interesting. I don't know where it's going to go. God knows where it's going to lead to. Where this is going to end up.
Well, I think people will fill the hole with maybe stuff that we're talking about right now, where it's like, you know what? Yeah, let's put out a positive. Well, we were talking about the Quartering earlier.
Yes.
He launched a site that's called Exclusively Games, right?
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
And his whole mission statement is to keep out of the murk and mire.
Okay.
With that, I mean, he goes, he wades into the shit.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see if that's true. I'll be very interested to see if that's true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I've looked at it, and there's some fun articles on there and stuff, but it's but again, like it's, I don't know, the site itself doesn't really pop to me yet. Like the personality's not there 100% yet. But
flames and dragons and diamonds and gems,
neon grids.
Yeah, it needs all of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's games. Make it colourful.
Yeah. Make it games.
Yeah, make it games.
Make it fucking nerdy as shit. And
people will love it.
Yeah.
People will love it. Yeah, nice. Cool. Well, we got anything else?
I think that's it.
I think that's us then, is it?
Yeah. You guys have a good one, and thank you for listening.
Yes. And tune in next week, hopefully FLAMECAST. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very, very much.
Say again.
I've been WINDYBEARD. Oh, did I break again?
Yeah.
Foxy bloody internet. Anyway.
What he said was he hates you. And
see you next week.
See ya.
See you later.